Hey guys, I am Crystal Webster of the Kearney Visitors Bureau, and I am here at Rowe Sanctuary with my friend Cody Wagner. And we're so happy that he's able to join us today and that we're able to be here, and we're going to talk about all things cranes. So we're going to go through a couple of questions, and at the end, if you have any of your own questions, feel free to comment, and we'll try to answer them as best we can. But so while we're waiting for people to join us, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Cody, and what your role is here?
Sure, I would love to. So, like Crystal said earlier, my name is Cody Wagner. I'm the habitat manager out here at Rowe Sanctuary. That really simply means that I'm in charge of making sure that everything around here is the best habitat possible for the cranes. We want to make sure they're coming back, and when they're flying overhead, they see Rowe Sanctuary and think, hey, that's a great place to land right there. So day to day, I'm going through and making sure that all of our prairies and the river itself is the best possible habitat. And, you know, every once in a while I get to do some fun stuff here and there with the cranes.
Some fun stuff, you know, I like that too.
Yeah, you know, fun things are important.
So how many visitors do you get through here? So are you open all year round then, or how does that work?
We're open all year round, and this is a great place to come, whether you're looking for the cranes or if you're out here bird watching in the summer, or, you know, if you want to go take a nice fall hike. Typically, you know, crane season's obviously going to be the busiest time of year out here at the Ian Nicholson Audubon Center. You're seeing, you know, maybe 25,000 plus people come through during crane season, so it's definitely a busy place. But the rest of the year, this is a really, really peaceful place to go out, experience nature, get a little bit of, you know, that connection that we're all missing when we're stuck in the concrete jungle.
Right, yeah. I like that. That's a nice way to put it. And I'm glad I was able to get out and be here today. So, yeah.
It's a beautiful day.
It is. So get out if you haven't already. So we're just going to go ahead and dive in to some of these questions. And the first one I got that we get a lot at the Visitors Bureau is, when do the cranes come?
Sure. So when we're talking the spring migration, we usually start seeing our cranes about the last day of January. Usually there's going to be a sighting or two. It's nothing going to be crazy, and it'll go on like that for about the first 2 weeks or so of February. Once we get into mid-February, going into the last week of February, things really start picking up. And that's when we're going to start seeing some groups of cranes come in and spend some time on the river. By the time it gets to be about the end of that last week of February, things are really rocking and rolling here, and that's why we always feel comfortable starting our viewing from our blinds actually that first week of March, because usually by that end of February thing, it's a pretty good time to be out here on the sanctuary.
Cool. Anytime's a good time.
That's exactly right.
Right? So when people say that, oh, I'm not going to be there until like mid-April or so, are the cranes still going to be around then?
They will be, yeah. So the cranes, the nice thing about them is they're a little bit lazy once they get here. They like to hang out, chill out for a little while. So they're going to be here usually until at least that first week of April. Occasionally we'll get lucky like we did last year, and because of the weather conditions and just, you know, maybe some cranes having a little bit of a emotional connection to the road, not wanting to leave. You know, I don't want to say anything's past them. They'll hang out until that end of April, kind of going into that last week was about where we had cranes last year. So
we like to say they just love Kearney so much.
That's
they
right.
Don't want to leave.
That's right. You know, it's a great place to be anytime.
Right. So another question that we get at the Visitors Bureau is, so why do the cranes come here? Like, what are they doing? What's going on?
So it might not be the most beautiful, elegant way to think of things, but really, honestly, Rowe Sanctuary is like a gas station for these cranes. Some of these birds are going on 1,000, 2,000 plus mile flight. Very, very, very long. It's going to take a lot of energy to fly that far. And the great thing is, Rowe Sanctuary happens to be situated in one of the perfect areas, distance-wise and also resource-wise, for these birds to stop in, gain a whole bunch of weight so that they have the energy to make the rest of the flight. In fact, some of them will actually gain up to 20% of their body weight while they're here. Now, that means they're going from a 5-pound bird to a 6-pound bird. But, you know, 20% of your body weight, just think about that in terms of a human. So
right.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I wish I could do that. I don't have any excuse to do it either.
I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I need to be 20% more.
Right. That's crazy. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, where do they go from here? So they land here, over 600,000 of them come in the duration that they're here, and then where do they go?
Sure. So Rowe Sanctuary is the kind of first marquee stop on their flight northward. You know, they're down there around the Gulf Coast, into Arizona, New Mexico, that kind of area. And then they stop up here and continue on their merry way. Some of them are only going up into the Dakotas or someplace shorter. Some of them go to Siberia or places in northern Canada. So really, it is a epic migration that some of these birds are taking on.
Wow, that's awesome. So how long have they been stopping here?
See, that's a great question. So they have been stopping here, as far as we can tell, for thousands of years. Mm-hmm. The Platte River itself is a little bit of a young river. It's kind of weird to think about because it's still plenty thousands of years old. But in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of a young river, really focused around its current form right around the last ice age. So we can confidently say that, at least in the way that the Platte River flows today, they've been coming here since the last ice age. But crane fossils have been found in the state of Nebraska for about 9 million years. Wow. So they've been here a while. They're an old-time resident.
Wow. Like I said, they just love the area. They love Kearney,
exactly right.
And they just keep coming back
That's
every year. Right. So that's awesome. So when people decide, okay, I want to see these things, I want to see this happen, where can they do this?
Sure. So there's going to be a number of options for them. Of course, the Rowe Sanctuary is going to be a great place to go out and see the birds on the river. We have a few different types of viewing structures here that we provide tours for. Those are reservation type deals. And it's going to get you one of the best Sandhill Crane viewing experiences possible, either in the morning or the evening. Additionally, of course, there's going to be all sorts of public viewing locations. Those look like Fort Kearney Hike Bike Bridge. There are a few viewing pull-offs on Rowe Sanctuary itself that are really great places to be, both during the day and also in the morning and evening. And also, you're going to be able to go out to viewing platforms like the Platts Viewing Platform, just a couple miles away from us. Those can be really, really good spots. They can get pretty busy, but can also be really good spots to go through and watch these birds at. Of course, the cranes are going to be all throughout the area during the day, so just driving around and checking out the roads near the river is another great way to find lots of cranes.
Oh, that's great. And a lot of people ask, can I use my vehicle as a blind?
Sure.
So we tell people that you can, but obviously keep in mind of the traffic, the local traffic, all the farm machinery and all of that. Just be mindful of the locals too. We love the cranes as well, but people are trying to get to work, unfortunately. So
it's always smart to go through, make sure you're following the rules of the road, make sure that you're viewing cranes in a safe way, both for you and for the people around you and the cranes themselves. And also make sure that you are just kind of trying to be as respectful as possible through your crane viewing experience.
Right, cool. So how do people reserve a blind? Do they just call? Can they go online? How does that work?
We actually have a number of different ways that you can come through and reserve a blind with us. We have an online system that's going to open up January 2nd. It's going to be a great place to go through and just grab your spots. We also have a call-in system, so you can call in if you don't feel comfortable going into the online system or you just want to get some more advice. And of course, if you want to, you can always come in personally to the Ian Nicholson Audubon Center here, and we'd be more than happy to help you with a booking.
Cool. Sounds easy enough.
That's right. It is.
And everyone here is so helpful, and we're helpful too at the Visitors Bureau, by the way.
That's right.
So, we want you to come here and have the most awesome experience. So we'd be more than willing to help you. As far as any questions that you have or anything like that, feel free to call us or Rowe Sanctuary too. So we're both very, very helpful staff. So another question that we get is, what do I wear when I'm in a blind?
Sure. So the biggest thing that we take away is when you're going out and you're viewing in these blinds, you don't want to look at what the high for the day is, because that's not going to apply to you. You're going to be in the blinds early morning before the sun has risen, or you're going to be in the blinds after the sun is set. So the low is going to be much more important. With that being said, you always want to make sure you're bringing the warmest clothing possible, because even if you are out there and you think to yourself, oh gosh, I'm really overdressed, I'm hot, you can always take off layers. You can't add layers you don't have. And it gets pretty cold out there when you're potentially out in your blinds with a north wind blowing right in your face for, maybe 3 hours. You definitely want to dress warm.
Yes, and we get that question, what should I wear? And we just say everything. Put everything on, wear it all.
Yep,
because
that's right.
you never know with Nebraska, So that's one of the things about Nebraska. It's great here, but we just never know what the weather's going to turn out to be. So it's
we've
great.
had days out in the blinds where people are out there in t-shirts and it's 60 degrees out, and then we've had days where it's negative and we get a blowing snow. So you just never know what you're going to get, and it's best to be prepared.
Right, no kidding. So you're in a blind and people are wondering, okay, I have all my clothing, everything that I want to wear. What else can I bring?
Sure. So it's always wise to bring binoculars. Binoculars are going to just make your experience so much better. You're going to be able to really get in and kind of get to know these birds. Whereas when you're just viewing them, with the naked eye, you're going to get the experience, but it's just not going to be quite the same. We do actually have binoculars here available for loan. So if you don't own a pair, don't worry. We can get you one. Those are in limited capacity though. So if you do have your own pair of binoculars, it's always going to be a good idea to bring those. Additionally, if you're really worried about the temperatures, it's never a bad idea to go through and bring hand warmers or foot warmers, those sorts of things, or a warm drink. That's going to be a really good way just to make sure that you can stay hydrated and keep yourself a little bit warmer, just in case you do find yourself getting a little bit chilly out in those blinds.
Mm-hmm. So what do you wear when you're out there?
Well, typically I'm going to be wearing, something like this flannel, another maybe layer or two, and then my heavy winter coat, and some nice warm gloves, because there's nothing worse than getting cold hands when you're out in the place where you can't warm them back up.
Right, yeah, cool. So people are wondering, are there any other crane related activities they can do while they're here?
Sure. Well, with Kearney being the crane capital of the world, there's always all sorts of things going on crane related that time of year. Specifically with Audubon, two big kind of things to take note of right now is Audubon, Nebraska's Crane Festival. So that's going to be something where reservations are actually open now. It's going to get you all sorts of good information, not just on cranes, but on conservation in general, all throughout the world. It's an absolutely outstanding conference to attend and is super interesting. You can find more information about that on Audubon, Nebraska's website, any.audubon.org. Yep, that's right. Had to think a little bit there. Additionally, another really great event to attend during crane season is the Family Crane Carnival that we hold here at Rowe Sanctuary. That's going to be March 16th, 2019 this year. It's a good opportunity to get the kids out and experience this migration. We have all sorts of fun activities going on that time of year, and it's a really great opportunity just to go through and kind of share with the whole family this event that makes Central Nebraska is so unique. It's always important for kids to learn about where they come from.
So do people register for that, or can they just show up?
That is a deal where you just show up and pay the entry fee. So.
Wow, a lot of good things happening for sure. So not only are crane related things happening in Kearney, there are other things you can also do while you're here. So I would recommend that you check out things like the Kearney Archway is awesome if you haven't been there already. The Museum of Nebraska Art, the Classic Car Collection. We have several theater performances and concerts happening, and all of these can be found on visitkearney.org on our event calendar as well. So I manage that, so I try to keep that as updated as possible, and I can tell you there's just so much happening in Kearney. I mean, you won't be able to experience it all. There's so much going on. So I would recommend, if you're planning your trip, go ahead and check that event calendar and see what events are going on February through April. Of course, there's a lot of things going on just in December already, but so make sure that you hit those events and check that out, because there's just so much going on. And, we have places like the Big Apple is a family-friendly place, so you can take your entire family to. And we have other places in Kearney as well. The World Theater, make sure to check out downtown, the Bricks. Mm-hmm. It's on the historic list of national places, so it's a great, really awesome place to go, and it's lined of all these places you can shop at, very unique shopping downtown. Oh, yeah. So I can spend hours down there. My husband doesn't really appreciate that, but so yeah, I love it down there. And there's all these unique pubs you can check out and restaurants of any kinds in Kearney. And if you're looking for any places to stay, we have 1,800 hotel rooms in Kearney. So and we have everything for any budget. So make sure all of that is listed on visitkearney.org too. And of course, we have camping spots too. If you want to bring your camper down, we have a lot of people that do that. The Kearney RV Park, Buffalo County Fairgrounds, Fort Kearney State Rec Park. I mean, we have it all. So, and like I said, everything is on visitkearney.org. So we'd be more than happy to have you. And if you want to give us a call or give me a shout out, I'd be happy to help you find whatever you need as well. So we just love having people come and enjoy Kearney. So we want to just make you have the best experience possible and make the most of your stay. So yeah, there's my little speech there. I'm almost out of breath. I'm so excited talking about it. Okay, so I went through where you can stay, other places you can do while you're in Kearney. So another kind of unique question that we get is there a fall migration?
Sure, sure. And of course, in a world that likes to see a lot of mirrors, once they come up, they got to come back down. So we do actually see a fall migration every year. They are doing that refueling further north up into Canada during that fall migration. So while they might be stopping here, you might see some groups of them. It's not going to be quite the same as our spring migration. The birds aren't really staying. They're just using us as an opportunity to kind of stop, rest their wings before they head on down south. And while you're still able to go out and see cranes and have a good experience, it's just going to be a little bit more legwork required and a little bit more luck required on your part during the fall migration.
Okay. And I did hear some this fall, and I didn't see any, but I can hear them flying over top. So that's kind of cool too.
Oh yeah, you're always going to hear cranes before you see them, it seems like.
Right. Yeah. And so another question we get is, do cranes mate for life?
Sure, yeah, actually cranes do mate for life. And just to give you some idea of how long that life can be, there have been cranes known to live well into their 30s. So not only they're mating for life, it's not just, a 2 or 3 year type deal. These birds are pretty dedicated. So.
Right. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we had like 4 whooping crane sightings this last spring, correct?
We actually had quite a few more than that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Rowe Sanctuary pretty consistently has the one of the highest incidences of whooping crane use during the spring. Whooping cranes, of course, being a highly, highly endangered bird, although they are a little bit of a success story just because their numbers are rebounding pretty good. This is a bird that had, I think, maybe 16 individuals left at one point, and now they're back up into more of like 500 range for their wild population. So that's a pretty good success right there.
Wow.
Whooping cranes here on the sanctuary, that's going to be something that you might potentially see, you might potentially not. There's a little bit of luck involved, but if you're lucky, they're a sight to behold. They're a really neat bird.
Didn't we have a rare sighting? It was like this gray bird, wasn't it? It was something. We did a story on it.
We did have a crane that had a little bit of albino in it. I'm trying to remember the exact word for that now, and it's failing me. It must have happened too long ago for my brain. But that is something that you'll see occasionally come through. Getting either partially white cranes or almost entirely white sandhill cranes. Can lead to some confusion with the whooping crane, although they are pretty distinctive once you see the comparison between a white sandhill crane and a whooping crane. They're very, very, very different, but it can always lead to a little bit of misidentification.
Because I think it's crazy just how big the sandhill crane is already, and then the whooping crane comes, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
They got like a foot on them. Yep.
It's a dinosaur. Yeah.
That's right. That's about right.
Yeah, pretty crazy. So I'm trying to think of some more frequently asked questions that we get. As far as Rowe Sanctuary, is there anything that we haven't covered already that you get questions on?
So one thing I will say, and I do see that we had a couple questions in the chat on it. If you want to come to view sandhill cranes, come in the month of March for sure. Early April as well, that first week of April, that's going to be a great time to see sandhill cranes. You're almost guaranteed that you're going to have a great show during that time of year. weather cooperating, of course, but even then you're going to see cranes.
Mhm.
Usually when we're talking about when we see the most birds here, you're looking more in the kind of mid-March type window. It's a wild migration. It's really, really hard. It's all just basically an estimate based off of what has happened historically. And that's also something that is changing kind of year to year when they come. So it's always a good shot just to shoot for the middle, but you can have an absolutely outstanding experiences early March and early April as well.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So you're taking reservations for the blinds January 2nd.
January 2nd
correct?
is when they all open up, and it'll be at 9 a.m. So you can pop onto your computer and head on over to our website at that time. You're going to be able to click a nice little link right there, and it'll take you right in. You'll be able to add all of your stuff and not even have to worry about it. It'll just be there, and you'll be golden.
So do you recommend people sign up as soon as possible? How full do you get? How fast?
So it really just depends. When you're talking some of our photography type tours, those tend to be highly competitive. They really do fill up pretty quickly. That's something that if you really are looking into either our overnight photography blind or our just morning and evening photography blinds, try your hardest to get into those experiences about as soon as you can to that January 2nd type date. They fill up pretty quickly. Now, if you're talking more of our guided crane viewing experience, that is going to be something that isn't going to fill up right away. If you want to just go ahead and grab your spot, feel free. But usually if you're making your reservations a month out, you should be able to find a spot for that. Things really start filling up the closer you get to March.
And March is a pretty busy month just for Carney in general. We call it March Madness because we have wrestling tournaments every weekend. There's just a lot going on for the month of March. So as soon as you're ready to book your trip, I would just do it right away.
That's right.
It's a pretty crazy time, and like Cody said, they fill up. I mean, there's always cancellations too. So even if they are full, you can still call and ask, and they will help you out too as well. So.
Sure.
Is there anything else you can think of that you would like to add? We went through a lot.
We have covered quite a bit of ground here today.
And this will be posted after the live is done too. So you can for sure go back and review all of the questions that we went over as well. And if you still have questions after this, feel free to give the Visitors Bureau a call or Rowe Sanctuary. We're both here to answer anything that you might have. And if you're also interested in requesting a crane packet, we do send those out. This year we actually partnered with Rowe in doing the 2019 Crane Watch brochure. So I designed this myself, so I know there's a lot of info in there. So it's kind of a lot to go through, but we combined all info into one brochure. And we do offer flight service now, or daily flights to Denver. So for those international people or out-of-state people, you'll be able to get to Carney pretty easily. And we like to make things easy for people. That's what that's what we aim to do. So if you're interested in getting more information about the cranes or anything Carney in general or Rowe Sanctuary, you can just go to visitcarney.org and request a crane brochure, and you'll get the crane brochure. You'll get the generic Carney attraction brochure as well, which the 2019 ones are just being printed, so I'm pretty excited about that. And we do have some coupons too to send to for you, so you can go to all of the local attractions as well, a couple dollars off. So we'll get you set up, and we'll also send you info on the prairie chickens in McCook. And then we also have a birding trifecta that is going on, and it's us, McCook, and Harlan County Pelicans. So we'll get you info on that as well. And our phone number is 308-237-3178. So feel free to give us a call. All right, anything else, Cody?
I think that just about does it here.
I know, I'm like out of breath. There is so much info there. So, so I hope we answered some questions. And yeah, so, and again, if you have any more questions, feel free to give us a shout out. And thank you so much, Cody.
Thank you.
For hanging out with me today and having us. And I don't know, there might be something else hanging out around here.
I don't know. I've heard something. It sounds a little bit like a mouse. I don't know.
Have you seen anything? Have you guys seen anything? I don't know what's going on. Oh my gosh. It's a Sandy sighting. Sandy. Has she been back there the whole time?
That's sneaky crane, I tell you what.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. Thanks, guys. We'll see ya.